Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see current affairs of 17th August 2024. So let's get started. So here I'm taking around 7 to 8 articles in this class and we are going to analyze them in detail. And I'm giving you the details regarding where you have to fit that topic along with the dimensions. So first topic here you can see it is about ISRO's ESSLV successfully launches Earth observation satellites into orbit. So the keywords are, the first one is SSLV and second one is what is this Earth observation satellite. So tell me, what is this SSLV? Small satellite launch vehicle. So what it means? Yes, come on, what it means? So what is this launch vehicle? What is this LV? What is this LV? What is a launch vehicle? So what is the use of this launch vehicle? Okay, so can you tell me the types of orbits? Okay, low Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit, and next one is high Earth orbit. So if you want to go for launching of Earth observation satellite, so in which orbit we have to place? Leo, yes. Why Leo? Exactly. Tell me why we have to keep it in Leo. Yes, it is near to the earth so that it will be having the focus on a specific area. And if you want to launch this remote sensing satellite, so in which orbit you have to place remote sensing satellites? So do you know the different types of satellites? We have Earth observation satellites, and some satellites are working on telecommunication, some are focusing on remote sensing. So in which orbits we have to place them exactly? Do you know this idea? Like why we have to place certain satellites in this certain orbits? No idea. Sir didn't explain this. Explain. Then what happened? Everything gone into space, science and technology. Okay, so focus on this. So now after once this class is done, so please go through this orbits and you have to see what is the significance of each and every orbit, and you have to see which kind of satellites of place we are placing in which kind of orbit, and you have to see why. Okay, so that is very important. Uh, yeah, for what? We can cover more distance. Okay, so if you're placing in this LEO, so we can cover very less area, but even we'll be having the specific focus. For example, if we want to get any images, so if you're placing at a very far distance, we'll be not getting that much resolution, right? So for capturing of images, we need very high resolution, so that we have to place that satellite in this low Earth orbit. So actually here we have to know about what is this EOS, Earth Observation Satellite. So here the dimensions you have to focus is what is this Earth Observation Satellite, the first one, and second one you have to see is what is the small satellite launch vehicle, and you have to see even in this Earth Observation Satellite we are using three types of payloads. So the specialty of this EOS is we are using three types of payloads, and these three have three different types of applications. Okay, three different types of applications. You have to know each and every payload, what is it, so how it is working, and what are the functions of that. So in this area you can get a question. Okay, so this is the first article, that is from your science and technology. And next article is Kerala researchers develop a breakthrough cyanide sensor to enhance safety of water and food products. So what is the keyword? Keyword here is cyanide. So what is a cyanide? Have you heard the cyanide? Cyanide poisoning? Yes. So actually normally when we are consuming our food or water, so they are getting poisoned with the cyanide. So because of this, yes, we can use science and technology and we can make some equipment so that we can identify this cyanide, right? So that had happened. So we came up with this development of cyanide sensing instrument so that we can decrease the poisoning of cyanide. Okay. And next one here is illegal mining encroachments, deforestation pose threat to Aravalli range as a natural green wall. So what are the keywords here? So first one here we are focusing on Aravalli. So from geography point of view, you have to see which type of mountain it is, like whether it is a block mountain or folded mountain or residual mountain. So tell me, Aravalli comes under which type of mountain? Either it is a folded or block mountain. Come on, geography went into space. Aravalli range. It is old folded mountain. It is very old folded mountain in India. And actually it is very much rich in biodiversity, and we can see especially ancient biodiversity here. It belongs to very old age. But what is the threat which is happening in this Aravalli range is there is illegal mining, and next one is encroachment. What is the meaning of encroachment? Encroachment meaning illegal buildings without proper permission certificate, and there is also deforestation. So because of this, what happened? So there is increasing of threat to biodiversity in this Aravalli ranges. So even you can compare this Aravalli ranges with Western Ghats. So in which area we can see more landslides, in Western Ghats or in Aravalli range? Western Ghats. So what are the reasons? So you have to compare the reasons of what is happening in this Wayanad now with this Aravalli. So in future we can also expect the same thing in Aravalli because of increasing of instability due to deforestation, mining, and as well as encroachment now. So am I making any sense? Yeah. Next one is apathy continues. So actually 3 days ago I discussed about one article regarding increasing of monkeypox, mpox cases in Africa, right? So actually recently WHO declared it as a public emergency. So why it declared as a public emergency? Because the new strain of this mpox is spreading in Africa, and actually till now in Africa there were no registered cases of mpox, but now for the first time in some areas of Africa, especially some countries of Africa, they are having this mpox. So because of this, WHO declared it as public emergency. So even though once WHO declared it as public emergency, so it is not getting proper vaccines. So here the problem here is this mpox is a vaccine preventable disease, even though there is no proper supply of vaccines, that is leading to the increasing of rise of cases in this Africa. So it is very important. You have to know some facts regarding this mpox and which strain now it is spreading. There are two types of strains. So one is 1 and next one is 2. So which strain is very lethal now? So you have to see the data. And next one is ensuring social justice and bureaucracy. So if you see, for example, if you take civil service itself, so are they this STs and ST people, that scheduled caste and scheduled tribe people, are enough represented in the civil services? Very less, right? So even the government is taking much more affirmative action like providing reservation, and even if you see age limit is also more for this STs and as well as STs, right? So even though there is very less participation of this SCs and STs are there, so this article is saying like what are the reforms we need to come up so that we can enhance this people participation in this bureaucracy. So whenever we are talking about governance, so one important problem we will be always focusing is there is no proper inclusive. So we need inclusive governance. That means this people should be also be the part of governance making process. So here you have to understand what are the steps we can take to make these people more adequately represented in our governance system. Clear? So this is from your governance. And apart from this, there are 3 more articles that we are going to see at last. So let us see the first article. See here. This is the image of ISRO launching third and final development flight of SSLV EOS-8 mission from Satish Dhawan Space Center. So where is the Satish Dhawan Space Center is located? In Sriharikota. Do you know about this launching sites where they are present in India, right? So here this article is saying that successfully ISRO launched this EOS-08 Earth observation satellite. Okay, so you can get an abbreviation of this EOS-08 is seen recently in news. So it is a which type of satellite? So in this way also you can get a question in your prelims. Okay, so it is placed at 475 kilometer orbit. That means it is coming under low Earth orbit itself. Okay, so if you see the points that you have to grasp from this article here is, so we are making lots and lots of technological advancements in this space technology, first one. So ISRO is committed towards innovation, and even it is also incorporating advanced payload. So as I said, in this EVO S08, we are having 3 advanced payloads, so that it is having a much more applications compared to that of earlier launched satellites. And even it is having more observational capacities because of this enhanced advancements in our payloads. So here we had a precision in launch. So we placed this EOS in a precision orbit exactly. So where we want to place, so we placed it. So we can understand that we are also having technical proficiency in launch operations. Especially it is very important for its observation data. So we have to place the satellite at a certain height so that we will be having the clear-cut data of our Earth. And next one is, it is having a very diverse applications. You have to make a note. So not now, I will be telling you when you have to make a note. So what are the applications of this EOS is, the first one is it is focusing on monitoring of our environment. Next one is disaster management. So even in yesterday's class, we discussed that we don't have proper early warning system. We are facing problem. So some are now like actually this EOS will be helping to have a proper early warning system so that we can address this problem of disasters in our country. And even it is having agricultural applications. Actually, this EOS will be providing you the valuable data regarding timely national or natural calamities that we are going to have. And even if you see the mission life here is 1 year only. So in this 1 year, we are going to get extensive data. Okay, so if you see some objectives of this mission, it is focusing on development of microsatellite platform. So nowadays we are moving towards development of microsatellites. Microsatellite is mainly based on the weight of that certain satellite. And this one is we are going for advanced payload instruments, and even we are implementing new technology for our future operations as well. So if you see, as I said, there are 3 payloads are there, no? So these are those 3 payloads. So first one is electro-optical infrared payload. Next one is GNSS, that is Global Navigation Satellite System Reflectometry. And this one is silicon carbide UV dosimeter. So here we are having infrared and we are having even UV. So here this EIOR will be capturing images which are MIR, that is middle or mid-wave infrared, and this one is it is focusing on even long wave infrared. So infrared is focused by this first payload. So by this infrared we will be having diverse applications, like we will be getting satellite-based surveillance, and we will be focusing on disaster monitoring, and even it will be focusing on environment monitoring and fire detection and volcanic activity observation, and each one is industrial and power plant disaster. So even you know that nowadays industrial disasters are increasing at a very high pace. So by using this, yes, we will be having a proper monitoring of this industrial disasters as well. And by using this global navigation system satellite reflectometry, so we can analyze sea surface height measurements. So whether the sea water level is rising or decreasing, we can identify by using this. And even whatever the moisture content is present in the soil, we can understand. And next one is what is the speed of ocean wind. And next one is we can monitor the ice coverage and as well as changes. So it is based on entirely water and as well as wind. And by using the silicon carbide, which is UV dosimeter, so here we can understand climatic studies, ozone layer monitoring, and biological impact assessment. So here how you can expect the question is, so in this EOS, so what are the payloads we are having? So they will be giving 3 or 4 and they will ask you to identify which is correct. Okay, correct pairs. And this one is they will give electro-optical infrared payload is seen recently in news, which is incorporated in EOS 8. What are the applications of only this IR? So there you have to remember these 5 to 6 applications, or else they will be asking about GNS and they will be asking about applications. And silicon carbide UV dosimeter, they can ask applications separately. So you have to be well thorough with this. Okay, clear? Next article, it is about Kerala researchers that develop breakthrough cyanide sensor to enhance safety of water and food products. So whenever you are writing an answer regarding food safety, food contamination, water safety, you can add this article as a case study that recently our Indians are using science and technology and we are moving very much advanced. so that we are developing this kind of instruments which will be detecting even a very low amount of cyanide in the foods, so that we can ensure food safety in our country. Okay. So here in the research, they found that they developed a highly sensitive cyanide sensor. So how this will be identifying is if the food is having the cyanide, so based on the concentration of the cyanide, so the color will be changing. So the color changes from yellow to colorless. So if very less cyanide or no cyanide, it will be yellow in color. If cyanide is more, it will be turning into white color. So in this way, color changes will be detecting the amount of cyanide which is present in that food or water. So this, what are the advantages of this type of instruments or advancements? Tell me, what are the advantages? Okay, what are the advantages? Yes, no loss. So we can decrease the loss of life. Next. We can ensure the safety. Next. Come on, fast. So we can ensure clean food and water. Next. Yes, very good. To control economic loss. Next. Biosafety measures. Actually, what happened is like 2 to 3 months ago, many hundreds of animals they died because of the cyanide poisoning. Whenever they took this grass where the cyanide poisoning had happened, so more than hundreds of cows they had been died. So in this way, we can also decrease animal loss. So whenever loss is happening, ultimately it will be loss to our economy. For example, if cows and buffaloes we are losing, means whatever the milk contribution will be there, so that will be decreased. Actually, India is second largest milk producer in the world. Okay, so that economy will be also get affected, right? So here this article is saying that, so this innovative sensor which will be enhancing safety of drinking water and food products, so that we can identify this toxic cyanide at a even very low concentration, so that we can properly address this critical public health concerns. And here, what are the points that you have to get? So first one is we are having innovative technology, so that will be very easy for crucial identification of any toxic materials in our food or water, so that we can also address this food safety concern issue. So how many of you applied for food safety inspector's job? Anyone? There you will be getting this type of question. So which type of chemical which causes which type of impact? So you have to know what is the impact of cyanide poisoning. So which organs will be get affected in our body? And do you know in many movies they will be using this word cyanide. So I will be adding cyanide in the food so that you will be dying. So you have to know what is the impact of cyanide on the body. And which one is even we can address this health risk. So cyanide presence is commonly seen in some type of foods. So because of this, it poses serious health risk. So in which kind of foods we can see cyanide which is present naturally? Do you have any idea? How many of you eat almonds? Yeah, in the almonds also we can see very little amount of cyanide. Okay, I will be showing you in which foods you will be getting cyanide. Okay. So even because of this cyanide, it is also having impact on the livestock. As I said, recently many cows had been died. And which one here is we can understand the future developments. If you are having this type of equipments now, so for other poisonous materials, we can develop much more advanced instruments, so that we can address this issue of food safety and as well as public health initiatives, etc. So actually cyanide, it is a potent toxin which is present in the various plants and fruits, and as well as even microorganisms is also having these toxins. So actually World Health Organization had came up with a very strict guidelines, like, so we should be less than 0.19 mg per dl. So if it is more than this concentration, it will be having lethal is very dangerous effects on humans and as well as even aquatic life. So cyanide is normally seen in the foods that we will be consuming, like cassava. So do you know this cassava or tapioca? Cassava. So how many will eat sabudan? So sabudan will be prepared from this cassava. It is a root. So from that root, they will be making them into powder. And after that, the powder will be processed into small round things that we will be getting. So that is in this cassava we will be having. And so even some common items like apple, apricot, next one is sprouting potatoes and almonds, they will be having this type of cyanides. So you have to wash them thoroughly before consuming those. Okay. Yeah, say this article, illegal mining, encroachments, deforestation poses threat to Aravalli range as a natural green wall. So tell me what this article might be telling. So what is this article might be telling? It is telling that, yes, it is a great threat to Aravalli range. So what are the causes? Illegal mining, encroachments, deforestation. So from where we can study this article? From GS paper 1, geography. So in geography, you have to know about this Aravalli ranges. So open your atlas and see exactly where this Aravalli ranges are located and in which states they are present, and you have to see which are the rivers they are flowing in this Aravalli ranges. And you have to see in Aravalli range, the highest peak is Guru Shikhar. Okay, so you have to see where is that Guru Shikhar is located. And next one here is you have to see whether it is folded or block mountains. So all these geographical points that you have to see. And it is saying that it is rich in green cover. So which are the some national parks or the biodiversity areas which are present there, wildlife sanctuaries are present there. You have to cover each and every dimension from your map. Okay. So here if you see the context, it is saying that the Aravalli range, it is a vital green wall where it is located in the northwestern part of our country. And even Aravalli ranges plays a very important in monsoon. So do you know? So what is the role played by Aravalli ranges in monsoons? No idea. So if you see this is map, so here we will be having Aravalli range. Okay. So this is our equator for example. So after crossing equator, winds will be turning towards right because of Coriolis force. So we will be having two branches. So one is Arabian Sea branch and one is Bay of Bengal branch. So Aravalli range is connected to this Arabian Sea branch. So whenever winds are moving like this, so the winds, they will be moving parallelly to this Aravalli range. So because of this, only when the winds which are hitting this part, they will be getting rainfall here, but other areas they don't have the rainfall. So this is also one reason where we can say the spread of Thar Desert is happening. Okay, because there is no rainfall here. So Thar Desert, which comes under the rain shadow region of Aravalli ranges. Okay, so you have to connect this point as well. Okay, so now if you say this article, it is saying that Aravalli range, a vital green wall in northwestern part of our country, it is threatened now because of illegal mining, because of deforestation and because of encroachment. So finally what is happening there? Because of all these events, that is causing environmental degradation, and as well as there is loss of biodiversity. So here this article is saying that we need to take some urgent steps so that we can go for sustainable practices, we can protect our ancient ecosystem in this region. So this article is saying that we need to take urgent action so that we can control this events like environmental degradation, so that we can promote sustainable environmental protection. And even we need global cooperation. That means, so we need to get the cooperation from other countries also, and even local communities need to participate here. And next one here is, because of this events, it will be having impact on biodiversity, and you have to see which kind of flora and fauna we can see in these Aravalli ranges, because whenever we are going from one region to another region, flora and fauna will be also changing. So from that area also you can get question in your prelims. And next one is, because of this deforestation, obviously there is forest loss. So whenever the forest loss is happening, what happened? There will be loss of animals, there will be loss of fauna, and that will leads to irreversible damage. We can't reverse it. And next one is, because of this mining activities, so there is no proper regulatory enforcement. So whenever we are having very important or ecologically sensitive area, we need to follow the rules and regulations. But we can understand that there is no proper enforcement of laws and regulations is happening here. So we need to come up with proper enforcement of policies for ensuring of our safe environment. And next one here is, we need to focus on ecological resilience. So whenever we are ensuring that presence of wildlife sanctuaries, or when we are protecting that area, then it will be having the positive impact on the forest health as well. So we have to maintain the ecological balance. For that, we have to prioritize the conservation efforts. Okay, and even human encroachment is happening. So why human encroachment is happening? Because of increasing of population, obviously. So we have to take the measures to control the population, or else what happens, we have to focus on proper planning of urban development rather than going for unplanned urban development. So whenever you are going for unplanned urban development, it will be causing more disasters, right? So that thing we need to be taken into focus. And say this article, apathy continues, Africa is not getting mpox vaccines despite disease endemicity. So here, whenever you're writing an answer regarding any disease, so try to give recent current affairs regarding that. So whenever there is recent current affairs, then only you can get questions in your mains. Okay. So here, if you're getting this mpox means, you have to give that recently WHO declared mpox as a public emergency. So like that, you have to give the introduction. Okay. So here this article is saying that, so apathy towards Africa's health crisis continues as mpox vaccines remain scarce despite of World Health Organization declaring mpox as a public health emergency. So actually World Health Organization already said this mpox as a public health emergency, but even though they are not getting proper vaccines. So vaccines availability rate is very less. And in Africa, which country had been properly affected here is DRC, that is Democratic Republic of Congo. So in this country, 2,863 confirmed mpox cases had been recorded. Out of this, 517 deaths had been happened already, and it is caused by this clade 1b virus. Okay, so in this mpox, we have two variants or two strains. So one is clade 1a and next one is clade 1b. So now there is spread of this clade 1b virus is happening in this Africa. And actually, they need how many vaccines? So 10 million doses of vaccines, but out of that, now they have only 0.21 million vaccines. So if there is no proper availability of vaccines, then what happens? There will be further spread of this disease and there will be further increased deaths. Because this vaccine, do you know this smallpox and chickenpox? If one member will be getting, that means entire people they will be getting in that family, right? So because of this, we need proper vaccine so that we have to curtail the spread of that disease further. But the problem here is there is no proper availability of vaccine. You can see the data. So here this article is saying that it is a global health inequity. That means if you see countries like US or UK, Japan, China, so if they are having this type of disease means within days they will be developing as many vaccines they need, and even they will be exporting to other countries also. But what happens in this Africa? So there is a health inequity we can see here. That is, it is a very less developed countries, okay, developed continent we can say. So here there is no proper technology, there is no proper medical advancement. So it is having impact on the public health. So the people who born here, especially in this DRC, so they are not getting proper vaccines. That means if they might be born in America, so the situation used to be very different here. So we can understand that there is global health inequities happening. And this one is, we can understand this is a very emerging threat because it is a new virus, okay, new strain in the virus. So as of now, we had only clade 1A, but now the new clade 1B virus is more lethal, and even the spread is very, very high, and they are not taking proper effective control measures also. So it is also one important thing that we need to focus. And who are vulnerable here? The children who are below 15 years of age, they are very much vulnerable to this mpox virus. And you have to see like vaccine development challenge. So what are the challenges which are faced by Africa now is there is no proper technology, there is no proper health experts, and even there is no proper vaccine authorization. Okay, so these are the important things that are the problems faced by this Africa. And even during COVID-19 period also, so they depended only on the imports of vaccines from other countries rather than developing of their own vaccines. So that is the thing you have to focus. And actually, if you see some facts regarding this monkeypox virus, it is a viral infection caused by monkeypox virus. And when it was first reported in the year 1970, and it had predominantly identified in these African regions only. So we have two strains, clade 1 and clade 2. Okay, clade 1 had been originated in Central Asia, Africa, next one is in West Africa. And what are the symptoms if you're getting this monkeypox? Like same chickenpox and smallpox, you will be having fever, headache, muscle aches, back pain, and low energy, swollen lymph nodes, and you will be getting rashes all over on your body, and that will be lasting for 2 to 3 weeks. Normally chicken pox, it will be lasting for 8 to 9 days, right? So here it will be for 2 to 3 weeks. And transmission, so it can be transmitted from animals to humans and humans to humans. So how, whenever you are counting the body fluids of that so and so infected person, then you will be getting that disease. So why now mpox had became a public emergency of international concern? Why WHO declared this? Because of three reasons. First one is now they discovered the new type, that is clade 1b. Okay, so because of this strain is new and even it is rapidly spreading with a very high rate of transmission, and even it is very lethal. The death rate is also very high. And next one here is there is exponential cases in spread. For example, over 99,000 cases they are found as of now in 2022, but now it had been increased to a very large extent. And even the new areas of geographical spread happened this year, especially Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Uganda. So in these cases, previously there was not even a single case of this mpox had been recorded, but now in these areas, this new clade 1b had been reported. So because of this, now WHO declared it as a public health emergency of international concern. Yeah, next article, it is about ensuring social justice and bureaucracy. So for this article, you need to answer now. So tell me how we can include or how we can increase this inclusive democracy or inclusive governance process. So how can we include this scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in our bureaucracy? Come on, think and tell me fast. Sir will come. Come on, think, you can do it. Yeah, awareness. Okay, I will be writing one. One point is awareness. So we have to improve awareness about education, about civil service examination. We have to at least give some affirmative action for them. Like government can provide some incentives or scholarship who wants to prepare for this examination. Next. Okay, so proper implementation of what? Okay, so what are the schemes are there? We have to properly implement them. Next. Come on, next. Think. What is the age limit? 21 years to up to what is the last? 30? 35 is for OBC. 37. Okay, you have to increase that. Okay, so if person who is getting into service at 37 years, so till how many years he can serve the nation? 80 years? Okay, so only very less time is there. So we have to increase this. And even you know that life expectancy had been increased because of advanced medical treatment, everything. So even we can increase the age to serve, especially for these people, so that we will be having expertise. So all these points you can note down. Okay. So that is the thing which is given here, nothing more than that. Okay, actually there is absence of SC or ST officers in crucial government roles, which highlights that systemic inequities are there in our policy making system. So actually, if we want to make our governance system inclusive, we have to include these people also, but there is very less representation of these SCs and as well as ST officers in our governance is happening. So because of this, if there is no proper adequate representation, what happened? Those people problems will not be heard, right? So for this, for effective and inclusive governance making policy, we have to include each and every community in the governance making process. And actually we are seeing that there is upper caste dominance, it is still present in our society. So you can see the data of presence of this SCs and STs in our governance making process. And this one is even there are some age disparities and even retirement reform need to be essential. So here regardless of entry age, so we have to increase the retirement age for this SCs and as well as STs. And next one here is because of rising of life expectancy, even we can increase the retirement ages also, so that we will be accommodating more experienced officers in our governance making system. Okay, so that is the thing which mainly said. There is nothing much new. Okay, see this article, the first one is Center unveils new system to study weather and as well as crop patterns. So this platform is nothing but Krishi Decision Support System. Okay, DSS, Krishi Decision Support System. So whenever you are getting this type of platforms, then you have to make a note and you have to give an example whenever you are writing your answers. So here we know that yes, climate change is happening and there are changing in the weather. So because of that, there is decreasing of agriculture productivity. So whenever there is decreasing of agriculture productivity, there is impact on our food security, increasing of hunger, increasing of poverty, whatnot. Every problem will happen. So for that, government need to take the measures. So you can say that yes, government is taking effective measures. So recently, Union Agriculture Ministry launched a digital geospatial platform, and this platform is Krishi Decision Support System. So what it will do here is it will share real-time data-driven insights regarding what are the weather patterns. Suddenly, sometimes yesterday, rainfall happened in Hyderabad. So based on that, what happened? They will be giving the data-driven weather patterns and even soil conditions, what are they, so how they are in the recent months and how it will be in the near future. And this one is they will be also telling information about the crop health, and as well as it will be giving advisories to the farmers by taking experts and as well as policy makers, etc., so that it will be helpful for country's innovation agriculture landscape. Okay, so whenever you are writing about the problems of Indian agriculture, you will be giving measures, no, or else you'll be writing about what are the steps taken by the government. You have to add this kind of case studies. Clear? And even it will be providing some comprehensive data like satellite images, weather information, reservoir storage, underground levels of water, soil information, etc. And there is one more article here. So with 3 patients, Pakistan records Asia's first mpox cases. So here you can see Pakistan, we are sharing boundary. So whenever the people who are moving India to Pakistan, even there is a chance of spread of this mpox cases in even India. So because of this, WHO declared it as a public health emergency of international concern. International means it is going to spread to different countries. So this is one more thing that you have to focus. And next one here is at least 80 killed in strike by Sudan. Okay, Sudan rebel group had been involved in one issue and about 80 people they had been killed in southeastern village. So you have to see like whenever this kind of issues are happening, you have to see what kind of issues is happening in other countries. Like whether it is a political stability or whether it is a terror attack. So which rebel groups are there. So in that way also you can get question in your prelims. That happened in 2024. Okay. So clear? So these are the important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding. So if you really like this class, hit the like button and please do like this class and share this class to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy.